And welcome to the Aaron Katzman Show. I'm your host, Aaron Katzman. We speak to you about your life, your money, and your investments. And as always, we're coming to you from the spiritual and soon to be financial capital of the world, Jerusalem, Israel. As always, if you like this content, be sure to hit the like button. And if you've not yet done so, I beg you to subscribe and tell your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have a really interesting show for you today. It's my honor to introduce Ori Ben Shlomo, who is the founder and CEO of the Asor Fund. You might know it as JGive, an Israeli nonprofit organization with a mission to encourage Jewish philanthropy. In 2016, he established the JGive platform, making the world of Jewish giving more efficient, effective, and tech forward. JGive offers a growing digital platform of over 1,300 vetted Israeli charities across multiple sectors. To date, JGive has enabled and directed more than 1 million donations, with donations totaling almost 500 million shekels. Pretty cool, I must say. Okay, he also was chosen by Forbes to be one of the 30 under 30 most promising and influential young Israelis back in 2018. It is my honor to introduce Ori to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate that. So let's just jump right in. And for those who don't know, and even for those who've probably come across them in some crowdfunding charity campaigns or whatever, tell us a little bit about what is JGive.
Yeah, so JGive, as you said, it's a non-profit that if you'll come to our office, you'll see a startup company, like a tech company. So, our goal, our mission is to encourage giving in Israel and to Israel, but to use technology for that. So we built a marketplace for giving. On one hand, we have our charities side that we give tools to charities like a payment solution, how to clear credit cards and get donations from the US 501c3, UK, Canada, Israel. This is one side of the charities. The other one is a crowdfunding platform. It's not just a crowdfunding, regular crowdfunding that you need to reach your goal. It's also how to fundraise with your communities. I'm sure you're familiar with the concept of, to be participants of a project of campaigns. So we do that with also our training department, that if you think about gym, so you have the trainer. So we try to maximize the potential of our charities and to help them to raise much more. And all of that is part of to encourage giving and to help charities to work with new and advanced tools with their community. This is one side, the charities side. The other side is the donor side. So in that, we have our donor advice fund, the first donor advice fund in Israel. I'm sure we'll talk about that later. And also we have tools, for example, we call it JGive at Work. JGive at Work is a tool for workplace to help their employees to donate more, to do the matching, to do all the things around giving in the workplace. And we see that it's now like quite, it's a new trend that around after Corona, many companies try to be part of that. So two main areas, charities and the donors, and we try to build the marketplace. We call it a giving place for Israeli giving.
So I would like to really focus on the donor advised funds, because this is, I'm a financial advisor, and this is, we manage money, and there are a lot of investors who watch this. And it's new to Israel. American investors might recognize, the Vanguards of the world, the Fidelities of the world, all have on their platform donor advised funds. But it doesn't really exist in Israel, and it could be a really huge way for philanthropic giving for people who live here in a tax-efficient manner. So first, maybe for those who aren't, for the uninitiated, tell us what it means to have a donor-advised fund, and then go into sort of what you're doing in the space.
Right. So the concept has been running for 90 years in the US, the donor advised fund, as you said, many like big institutions like Fidelity, Vanguard. But also, you have the JCF, Jewish Communal Fund New York, that it's more local donor advice fund, that basically the idea is to allow you as a donor to have your private fund without all the bureaucracy around that. That means that you can you create your own fund, part of, donor advice fund, and then you can deposit money, you can deposit donation to that, and you can park it. this is in Israel. We're not familiar with this concept because usually when you want now to give 1,000 shekel to a specific charity or 100,000, you just donate and grant it in the same time. Here you separate between the two steps. You decide that you want to donate certain amount, you put it in your fund, you can park it, you can invest it during the time, and then you can grant it over time. So this is basically the concept of the donor advice fund. In Israel, in the US, it's very common and many people use it. I think this is a significant source of the new philanthropy and the big donors and the medium donors there in the US, but in Israel, it's quite new. And I think it's three main advantages to use this tool. First one, it's the tax. When you soon we'll have now in June, but tax planning, and people want sometimes to make sure that they donate how much they want to donate, so they can just deposit to their fund and get immediately a tax receipt for all the amount. For example, they can, if they made this year some big exit, so they can donate much more, but they don't need to give it out to charities. They can park the money, they can give million shekel, get tax receipt for all the amount, and donate it during the years after that. So this is first, tax advantage. Second, let's call it clean and clear. I've been spoken to thousands of donors, and it sounds a bit silly, but the main pain of the donors, especially people that donate a lot, is all the bureaucracy around the donation, to call the charity, to get the bank account, to make sure they have all the tax deduction status and all of that. And also, the main game is to run after a receipt and make sure you get it.
Yeah.
So with the DAF, it's all done. You donate one time, you get a digital receipt. It's in your dashboard. You can grant it from your dashboard. You can do recurring donations. You can donate to all the charities in Israel, not only the 1,400 that we have in our database. You can donate to every charity in Israel that they have they are tax deductible. They have tax deductible status, and from one dashboard, and you can manage it. And it sounds technically, but to solve this pain, encourage giving, and see people that they give much more. This is the second, to make it clean and clear. And the third, I think this is more about the concept of giving. It let people to build their legacy, the charitable legacy, to let them to think more strategically about the giving, to make some giving plan with their families, to make sure that they give to the right places, they do the due diligence, they make sure that they donate to the specific causes that it close to their heart, to make it much more מסודר. So all those three things, the tax, the clean and clear, and to build their charitable legacy, I think it's a game changer for people that try to promote and to do social change here in Israel and to donate more.
I'll just tell you that yesterday, it was literally yesterday, I got a call. In Israel, once you give, they keep calling you. Every month they call you again. They want more. And I got a call from she said, I'm the CFO of this organization. I've actually been running after this organization because they never sent a receipt. And she asked for another donation. And I said, you're not getting another donation. You're the CFO. I want a receipt by the end of the day, or you're never going to get another donation, right? That's just how it works. So what you're saying is on the ball. We spend hours chasing organizations for those receipts. One of the things I'd want to ask, right? In the US, the way it works is you can either give, a lot of people give already what's called appreciated stock, right? They have shares in, I don't know what, Apple that they bought 20 years ago. And instead of selling it and pay capital gains, they just transfer it either to the organization or to the network or whatever it is. And they don't have to worry about the capital gains, and they get the tax write-off. Right. Number one is, do you provide that same thing? And number two, let's say I have a bunch of money that I want to donate over time, right? Let's say I have 100,000 shekels or 200,000 shekels. Do you provide a way for me to actually invest that money? And then over, let's say 2 years or 3 years, I take over 4 years, we'll just make the math easy. I take a quarter of it every year and then distribute it amongst the charities. Do you enable investors or donors, however you want to define them, to do both of those acts of giving and investing?
Okay, so regarding your first question about, donate asset, non-cash assets. So basically we have the option here in Israel. People can donate, and people donate stocks and other assets during JGive. And the question is more tax question. I must say, although I'm a lawyer by profession, I'm not giving here any advice about that. But if you'll go to different lawyers, you'll hear different opinions about if you can get the both. You can get the capital gain and also tax deductible 35%. Like it's two different things.
Okay.
We talk to the tax authority. We have collaborations in a few areas, and this is one of them. And we try to get a clear, to understand exactly what their emda, like what they want to give, if people can get both. I hope to let you know soon with good news about that, but it's not yet.
Okay.
Today you can find lawyers that will tell you can get both, but technically you can donate assets. It's very interesting because, for example, if you'll see in Fidelity report, the charitable donor advice fund, 60% of their donations, it's not from assets. Like it's like only 30% from cash. In Israel, most of the donations cash.
Right.
So I'm sure this will be also, the next game changer, the asset donations, and I hope really soon we can announce some good news about that.
Okay, great.
About regarding your second question, of course, we want that while the money is parking, it will work for you as a donor. So of course, if you invest your money, your tzedakah fund is growing. We allow the donors, we offer them 3 different tracks, investment tracks. Unfortunately, in Israel, it's part of what's going on, that it's new here. It's heavy regulations around investments, charity investments. So for example, you can invest up to 20% in shares, okay? In the US, it's much more flexible.
Right.
You can, right? And soon maybe we'll talk about the US donors that they have private foundation in the US or donor advice fund and want to donate in Israel. But basically, we allow that. It's a great tool for us to offer our donors, because sometimes people park the money for many years. It could be, you need, according to the tax authority ruling that we have, you need to spend most of the cases 5% from your fund every year to grant it out to charities. So it's like endowment. You can leave your money for many years. Of course, we allow that.
And you can, I just want to cut you off, and you can choose whether you want the tax savings from immediately, right, when you deposit the money, or as you give it along the way, correct? Or is that not true?
No, once you deposit, you get tax receipt.
This is the advantage. You give it over years. Okay, got it.
Yeah, you can grant it out to the charities over a year. You can have your account, let's say with 2022, you deposit 1 million shekel, immediately you get tax receipt of 1 million shekel, but during the next 20 years, every year you can grant 5% of that to different charities. And while the money is parking, you can invest it in different investment tracks.
Now, there are a lot of charities, right, on your platform, correct?
Right.
Do you vet the charities, or you just, if they've got, the special status given by the tax authority as a recognized charity, you just put them up there? Like, how does that work?
So basically in Israel, you have around 50,000 charities, okay? So this is big now, huge number.
And that's not counting all the individual people who are going around, going like this, trying to get some money from you also.
Exactly, right. So 50,000 of them, they have, it's called proper management status from Rasham Amutot, from Minister of Justice. And only around 8,000, they have a tax deductible status. So we work only with this group. Above that, we offer our donors transparency index that, help them to understand more about the charities. It's called Midot. It's some organizations that try to do due diligence, but it's only for a few hundred charities. But we try all the time to improve it. And soon we're going to have a new transparency index with few indexes that I'm sure will help our donors to understand much more about the charities that they want to donate to.
Okay. And lastly, I want to go back to something you mentioned, right? American donors who want to donate in Israel, right? You mentioned that. Talk about that.
Yeah, so basically, I think it's three types of donors. Go like briefly. First, it's like the donor that every year donate the same amount. It's sometimes old money or just donors that they want to donate the same amount, and there they will find the second, the clean and clear advantage, and to build their legacy as the advantages of the DAF, to open a DAF, because it's helped them to manage their philanthropy. We have also many businesses and corporations that use this tool to manage the corporation giving. And second is the new, let's call it new money exit, people that first time or now meet with a big amount of money and they want to build a long-term fund and they deposit it, and then they enjoy the tax planning here. But third is, as you mentioned, it's the US donors. We see that it's many people that they have their own private foundations or they use DAF in the US, but significant part or all of part of their philanthropy is in Israel, okay? And then they struggle with many, bureaucracy, because, for example, if you have your donor advised fund in the US and now you want to support some local charity or your shul or whatever you want to donate. So, okay, you have for the big and new charities in Israel, you have friends of the Israeli charities, right? But for other, you need to struggle until the money will get here to Israel from your DAF. So it's many stations on the way, right, and middlemen. And here we have a solution that we see many donors use it, is to open a DAF, Israeli DAF, that people deposit the money that they want to grant in next 6 months or 12 months, because our advice for US donors is to keep the main DAF in US, because they have all the investment opportunity that unfortunately we don't have yet in Israel. I hope that we'll have it soon, right, but to have the money that they want to grant in the short term here in Israel, and to grant it directly from the Israeli DAF, because think about it, they want to support. Now they are in Israel for some holiday, they want to support a charity. Within 3 to 7 days, the money will be in the charity's account without all the stations on. So this is a very useful tools for US donors that want to support Israel.
And they'll get US tax write-ups.
Yeah, of course. This is a very important part. We have JGive USA, that this is 501c3 organization that, they donate to the JGive USA, and we deposit it in their account here in the DAF, the Israeli DAF.
Fascinating. And for charities out there that are watching, who might not yet be on your platform, but they've got, all the right status from the Justice Ministry, how can they get on your platform?
So our platform, it's a tech kit. You can go, you can sign up. They can sign up in the platform, and it's free to sign up. And by the way, for DAF users, they just pay very low management fees. Okay, and then the charities get the charities get 100% of the donation. Okay, and you can go to the platform, is very simple, and if they have more questions, they can contact us.
Ori, this has been fascinating. This is really cool. I'm glad that we're bringing the tax efficient way of charitable giving and philanthropy to Israel. How can people be in touch with you if they have any questions or whatever?
Of course, they can contact me directly at ori@jgive.com. They can go to our website. If it's the DAF, we call it Platinum. They can contact platinum@jgive.com. And we're here to help. And this is part of changing all the ecosystem of giving and culture of giving. And we want Israel not to be only a startup nation, also a startup donation.
Very good. Ori, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You've been tuning in to the Aaron Katzman Show, where we speak to you about your life, your money, and your investments. Again, be sure to like this video. And if you've yet to do so, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll speak to you soon.